You know, I'm here with my wonderful friend, Dorie Clark. Dorie, you are a world's authority at helping people get their message across in a very crowded marketplace. One thing that's very important to me is the idea of personal brand. You know a lot about that. In just a couple of minutes, share some of your insights to our listeners on maybe what they can do to build their own professional and personal brand.
Absolutely. Well, as we get into an increasingly globalized economy, it becomes much easier for companies to find someone who's willing to do things cheaper, perhaps around the world. And so the only defense against that for an individual or for a company for that matter is to become known as being so expert at what you do that people are willing to pay more. They're willing to pay a premium to work with you specifically. And so what I wrote about in my book, Reinventing You, is fundamentally there's a three-step process around personal branding.
Okay.
The first step is getting clear on what your current brand is, of course, because a lot of people sometimes immediately go to, oh, how do I create a brand? But the truth is you already have one. People think something. So it's getting a sense by doing canvassing of friends and colleagues, really understanding how you're perceived in the marketplace. The second step is coming up with a future vision for your brand. Where do you want to go? And what skills do you need or what capabilities do you need to develop so that you can get there? And it's creating the action plan. And finally, it's what I call living out your brand, because oftentimes the discourse around reinvention, around personal branding is about a one and done type phenomenon, but it's not that. We have to live out our brands day to day and on a consistent basis send that message. So it's the small steps that we take along the way that really get the message across in a way that lasts with other people.
You know, I wrote a book with Sally Helgson called How Women Rise. And in our book, Sally came up with some really good thoughts. One is, with women specifically, they sometimes seem to have more of a problem with self-promotion, promoting their own brand. Any specific thoughts on that to get over that kind of phobia of self-promotion?
Absolutely. And I think you're exactly right. I know so many talented women that have no problem talking up their friends and colleagues or about their company or ideas, but when it comes to themselves, it's a challenge. One thing that I like to suggest, and I wrote about this in a Harvard Business Review article, is to avoid adjectives and to think about nouns. And what I mean by that is where a lot of people get uncomfortable is they assume when it comes to personal branding that they have to say things like, hi Marshall, I'm the best expert at personal branding, or I'm the leading attorney in New York City. And of course, that's subjective. When we talk about adjectives, it could potentially be perceived as you bragging about yourself. But if you stick to nouns, if you stick to things that you have objectively accomplished, whether it's that you have won a particular award or that you have a particular role, oh, I'm the senior vice president for such and such, or oh, I'm the president of the intellectual property committee of the local bar association. Those things like that convey expertise. They show implicitly that you have the credentials, but you're just talking about yourself. You're saying facts, not putting a self-promotional gloss on it.
Yeah, I like that. Sally talks a lot about that, just sharing information and sharing information in a positive way. So thank you so much. I love it.
Thank you.